Welcome to the Middlemen. I'm Juro Emeka Madnagwan. With me today are Juro Evans Ufeli, who will explain the many gaps amongst the president's handlers. Juro Cyril Abaku, who will be taking a look at the confusion caused by conflicting messages shared by President Bola Tinubu's spokespersons. And Juro Olajumoke Alaude James wants to know if the introduction of Nigeria We Hail Thee is a sign of national failure. I'll be explaining why the older generation of leaders needs to step down for the younger ones. But that'll be after this short break. Please stay with us. Middleman. You're welcome back to the Middlemen. Now to my case. Can the old guard please step aside? The decision of President Bola Tinubu to sign the bill bringing back the old national anthem is an indication that the old guard is tired. Yes, really tired and in need of a well-deserved rest. Or how else do you explain this shocking decision as the rest of the world continues to leapfrog into the future? Instead of flying into the future, we're being dragged to the past through such ill-thought decisions. My verdict, the old guards needs to begin to retire from the scene so that younger and more vibrant leaders can emerge. The future is here, but the old guard is oblivious of it.
We wanted a younger leader in Peter Obi. I mean, when we say younger, I mean a 61-year-old. This old guard that we're talking about, a lot of them got into power in their own late 20s and 30s, you know. And so they've been there forever. What I've noticed in the Fourth Republic is that our politicians are afraid of poverty. Mm-hmm. They know what they have created in Nigeria. There was once that former president, Obasanjo, the president is always a president, was complaining that he was spending too much on diesel to run the Obasanjo farms. And I'm like, sir, you were president for 8 years. What you were initially, what they call our head of state,
military head of state,
for 4 years. Then you were civilian president for 8 years. You did not fix the power sector. Mm-hmm. Now, as a former head of state and president, you are now complaining about the cost of diesel to run your farm. You cannot run away from the problems of Nigeria now that you didn't solve as a leader.
Exactly, I agree with you. And if we did a very, very thorough, far-reaching examination of Nigeria's situation today, it was because of the things Obasanjo didn't do right. If you look at it very, very critically, it was because of the things Obasanjo didn't do. If you look at this,
the older generation have that belief.
Now I'm coming.
Convince me.
Of course. Now look at it. For example, he had come in 76 in his 30s.
In his 30s, I think he was 32.
No, 36. He came back 1999. He should have been wiser. He should have been stronger. He should have been better. But imagine that Obasanjo left in Nigeria, that a Yar'Adua became president in, a Jonathan became president in. By the time the Obasanjo legacy was ending, Nigeria willy-nilly ran towards a man that, quote, they said, even if all that he had was electricity, NEPA bill,
we will vote for him.
You know that the Yar'Adua Jonathan presidency was largely Obasanjo's creation.
Yeah.
A lot of underground deals went to allow Yar'Adua to win that election.
Oh, you remember Umaru? Are you there? The dead man.
So now, after at the end of February 8 years, we're now going to begin with the Tinubu presidency. So somehow, now the argument, the case Jeremiah is making is this: the old guard, a lot of them had made their mark in their 20s. In their 30s, now in their 70s and their 80s,
they are still there.
They are still very relevant. I think that beyond making a case for younger people to come, because even I met a lot of younger people that say, Baba suspect that, or Baba has not suspect. So a lot of young people are even looking. I've met people highly placed young people who say, if you don't steal, you won't make it. So even when you talk about young and vulnerable, we need to ask, where are we developing and building this next generation?
The capacity.
In the UK, Liberal Democrats and all those parties, when they organize that, they even have youth conventions where young people are learning the ropes from the older people, learning how to make speeches. You say that somebody, he will study British culture maybe or history, at his degree level. By the time he's going to master's degree, would have been studying economics or international relations because he's preparing to hold public office. But in Nigeria, everybody believes that somehow a miracle will happen.
Once you get into power, you just have the solution.
And that he will go from a vulcanizer or recharge car seller to becoming a billionaire. Or person who is talking. I hope we remember that when he left prison in 1998, he came to, it was, I think, Ale Ojo of personal memory that took him in with only a nylon bag and a toothbrush and something like that. You know, he left office, he became the owner of an entire farming village.
He had less than 20,000 in his bank account.
So how did he go from what he was in 1999?
It was his salary.
No. So
he was saving the salary. You know that their salary is pretty much not spent because everything they need to spend money on.
Even so.
Yes,
but
I think if you look at the way things are going.
But hold on, sir.
Yes.
A young leader is Yaya Bello now.
I was going to go there. Yaya Bello was even Usman Ododo. Look at what he's doing. The tongue could get into. So I want young people to emerge. Yeah, my sister. I want young guys to emerge. But I don't know whether there's any place we are incubating, training,
we're not training
and
them.
raising them to come and take
over.
Are
they ready? So are the younger generation ready to take over power?
Look at
that lack
Mr. President,
of capacity?
See, Mr. President,
that all of us will now say Baba has Sokwe or Baba has not Sokwe.
The president had to be telling people, including his own son, that they should not be stepping into the council chamber.
Can you imagine?
So is there really any hope for even the younger generation? I mean, this is a question that anybody.
I think part of the problem has to also do with the media. The media is supposed to mold opinion. The media is supposed to guide.
Gatekeeper.
Yes, be gatekeepers. But the unfortunate thing is that you find journalists who don't understand where the
media houses are old. No, high five.
So, but what about where you have?
So you want to go and criticize the old guy that is paying your salary?
What about where you have bloggers? You have a lot of bloggers who used to be
who are routinely arrested.
The bloggers are actually feeding.
Make you disappear.
They're feeding what their audience wants.
Mm-hmm.
Young people, are they interested in politics? So you want a blogger to come and go and be telling me about it when I want to watch your blog to laugh.
But
in fact, I think that the old guard used entertainment to distract the younger generation.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be a musician
because
that's the only way you go from being extremely poor to becoming a billionaire in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So where we carry and then you keep on saying, I'm not interested. It's only Peter Obi that dragged young people into politics. You have never been interested.
And the others didn't really like the fact that he brought young people. And look at you now see
we know why he brought young people.
But you now see what exemplified by what Professor Wole Soyinka has been doing. Calling supporters of Peter Obi fascist.
We too have been calling him cultist back.
Yeah, so you see, the sad thing is that the old guard has lost it.
No,
I don't care if we had Yaya Bello or Dimeji Bankole. That is not the best. These people were picked up by the old guard because they represent what they want. But I want to tell you, look, go into the financial sector. People like Inya Boyeji, those young chaps who have set up payment platforms and all that.
A minister of development or minister of economy today.
Not in the current system, but don't forget.
Who is going to change the system?
Don't forget that Emefiele, the former CBN governor, did his best to frustrate young entrepreneurs in the fintech space. But they withstood him.
I'm surprised that Otoye accepted to work with them.
That's the problem now. Because the younger generation that you people are calling, what's the solution?
Because it's not even a matter of merit or not. I just felt that Fela sort of represented something entirely different. Okay.
No, but you have been put into a place where you'll be writing speeches.
Okay, good. So you asked for the solution.
Yes.
I think that the solution does exist, but there are some things we must press for. I support what young people like Samson Itodo and his sister Mbamalu, not sister in the sense of in biology, but are doing in pushing for the not young to run. Maybe we'll continue to push for reforms. when the roads have come to a ripe stage, that you know that if you run for office, you can win. Okay. Then again, we need to also add independent candidature in the.
I thought it was put in the last
No, it was
electoral
not. It was not.
Then what about training? Because it's not about getting there at 35. It's about having the capacity.
So training. A few centers are available, but it's not enough. You have Dr. Bezekwesel's place. I think the
Patutomi Center for Values in
leadership, and then you have RCG to also coming up with one school like that.
Chief Osita Chidoka.
Yeah, so somehow they are.
So the people graduating from those institutions, we need to start pushing them.
Yes. Well, yeah, start pushing them, but I think that they need to coalesce. So, for example, can they come together, put it and say, let us try Enugu State, for example, or Lagos. Let's put a governor there. Okay. And see what he does.
No, but look at what Alex Oti is doing in Abia.
No, of course he's doing something. So some people went to Alex Oti and said, "You've been running for this, let's support you, let's back you up." And then something came out of it. So
we the obedience are very proud of him.
Yeah, so if we can say those guys, let them come together. For now, it's not my party, it's about our generation.
I agree.
Yeah, so let's take a party, Labour Party, any party, and let's say, let's go to Imo and let's try it. Let's mobilize. If they can put a governor there, okay, then we see what they can do there. That will not become an example to what they can do across the country. Yes.
Okay. When we return, Juror Evans Ufeli will be x-raying the many gaps among the president's handlers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The president's spokespersons with divergent communication view as regards President Tinubu's outing. I find it rather very disconcerting that the two major spokespersons of the president cannot agree on an issue as regards the president's outing to inform the public effectively as to what the president is up to 1 year after his administration. It is bad enough that the government have not performed, and the citizens are trying to cope with that disappointment. Then comes the inconsistencies, emanating from the two spokesmen in the State House. Not too long, some days ago, the spokesman, Bayo Onanuga, told the public that the president isn't going to be giving a special broadcast, but will be speaking to a joint section of the National Assembly as a way to commemorate our 25 years in democracy. And when that information was passed, few hours later, Jure Ngilari, who also is a spokesperson of the president, issued a statement that the president will not be meeting with the National Assembly or joint session of the National Assembly, and went into other issues. So, this is an indication that there is no cohesion at the presidency. Because what it means is that it appears that the two of them are serving two different masters. And two rams cannot drink water from the same bucket at the same time without a clash. So it appears to me that part of the problem we're having is not just the problem of the president's seeming incompetence, where he has moved from one policy somersault to the other, but that those who are supposed to communicate even this confusion to the people are also confused. So this mix of confusion must be remedied, because the average Nigerian wants to be led well. The average Nigerian yearns for leadership, a leadership that have control, they have systems, they have method, that can take the citizens from point A to point B. What are we talking about? What is leadership in the first place? Leadership is the ability to see places and people, and the ability to take them to where they ought to be as against where they are. So if the people's life have not improved as a result of your lack of understanding of governance and your inconsistencies in policies, the least they should get is to get the correct information from you as regards to what you intend to do next in your assignment. But that seems impossible under this administration. And I find it very, very serious that we do not have to know exactly what the president wants to do. The same way the handlers, are going about managing the president is the same way the president has gone about managing the citizens. It appears that the two speakers, the two spokespersons to the president, Bayo Nanuga and Ajuri Ngelari, it appears that the two of them also are acting impulsively. So it means that perhaps in the presidency there's no memo, there are no meetings, and there are no strategy or plan to carry out defined objectives. That is what it means, because everybody's working at cross purpose. And I think that must be remedied. The president has pulled out from policy of subsidy to palliative, unable to handle palliative, handed over the funds to governors. Governors could not handle the palliatives. No one got anything. The average Nigerian is stressed. And we have an administration. My verdict, therefore, will be that the president or the presidency must issue an apology to the Nigerian public as to what happened 3 days ago, to ensure that the people's anger is assuaged by that outing, which it's not good enough for a country that yearns to move itself from where it is to somewhere that is befitting, And I also want to add that this outing, this attitude also need to be remedied in the sense that it must not repeat itself again. If it does, then when the people get on the president and it's not spared, and the criticism rises to the heavens, those who see no wrong in what the president do should not come out there and criticize those who feel things should be done properly. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Well, there we have it. Juro Ofeli has raised very, very far-reaching questions. He has attempted to give a holistic approach to the matter. Because this gap didn't begin with what
breaking bone.
Please, let me first of all say that Bayo Onanuga was forgotten first and foremost, right? Then when he went after, during the elections and right after, he was very vocal. He was abusive, to put it rightly, right? So
they call it combative.
What kind of combat is that? Very insensitive.
In public relations or something.
And tribal. Come on. Anyway, so we said now went for him. Twitter warrior. So they didn't even give you toilet ambassador or any position in this government.
Just like FFK too.
FFK.
No, that
if you put FFK in any government, you want to destroy your government from inside.
He was not employed. He was
not employed.
He was a hanger on. He was hitching a
It's like Rhino or Buckley.
Who continues to try so hard.
He is actually the president now. Is that why
they still haven't given him anything? No. But coming back to this conversation so as we now went for Bayo Onanuga, the thing was I paid him go. And then he's from the old Tinubu school of thought, right? So they must have said, Oga, if your warrior on Twitter can be debased, abused, confronted like this, he is not good for your second term. Find him something.
Too bad.
So they now found him something lower than Ngalele.
Ngalele.
Our half caste brother.
No.
Yes.
No. Oh boy.
So now, they don't even know their office, their position, because one is senior in the profession, or to be senior in office, but he's now junior in appointment. So confusion galore.
You see why politics can be very, it's a dirty game. Okay? I thought that Mr. President should have, ideally, right? You had the Donyo Kupe, Ruben Abati scenario. Mm-hmm. You had the Remi Oyo. I think initially it was...
Remi Oyo was fantastic.
Yeah, now, what Nigeria tries to do, typically the Nigerian presidency is, one person speaks for the president, does the basic speaking, while the other person is the attack dog. So Abati was to be a straight talker, was to just do the basic ceremonial work, while the other people was to attack the president's enemies. He will attack Abuari, attack the, that was the plan. In the case of in the Buhari case, Femi Adesina was meant to be the straight talker, smooth talker, the image cleaner. As
no. While the outside guy was supposed to be the cleaner.
The outside guy was the attack dog.
No, Femi Adesina was the attack dog.
Anyway, sometimes one person attacked, the other person did the other one. But now in the case of President Bola Tinubu, it appears that Ngilali had the language, the looks, the finesse and everything. They was to do the basic presidential announcement while Baba Ononuga was going to be the
old man attacking on Twitter.
Well, I don't know. But now the point is this.
And, going on
like Basufeli said, they've never even had the decency to apologize to say, we're sorry for...
Have they apologized for anything? All the gaps. Hold on, Jurasirio. All the gaps in this government, have they apologized for any of them?
Have implications. Foreign investors will look at you and say, what kind of disorgan? Because, of course, I mean, my own case is also similar to this. If you cannot govern your own,
if you cannot speak in one,
this is the most basic of assignment. In the White House, the president's chief of staff controls and coordinates the White House and the White House staff. So, and then after chief of staff, you have deputy chief of staff, you have the director of communications, deputy director, then the CPS. So there's a channel, there's a line. If you don't have clearance, you can't
hierarchy.
Without clearance, you can't speak. I'm wondering who gave clearance for Mr. Ononuga to give his. Then
he likes to jump. Until you.
The details he gave in his statement are too specific for us for them to be overlooked. He said, former Senate President David Mark, former Speaker of the House, but National of Dr. Miller, and former Head of State Abubakar will all be with the President to do 1, 2, 3, 4 things at the National Assembly. When Ngilali later came there to say that accident was false and unauthorized.
Imagine.
Hold on. Mr. Baba Ononuga didn't remove his statement. It was still on Twitter till the following day.
Even up till now.
Even till now. Then, by the following day, which was yesterday, the President indeed went to the National Assembly, gave an address, and went to inaugurate the National Assembly.
No, he didn't read a speech. He gave an address.
If the President spoke, he spoke. Whether he read or not, he spoke.
No. He said he would deliver a speech.
No, but you see, it doesn't matter. Not all speeches are written.
Either he read or
he gave if he spoke, he gave a speech. Now, whether it was extempore or written, it's the same. Yes, but he spoke for 7 minutes. Now, because anything he said that was policy, so it's a speech. Now, he also went to inaugurate the National Assembly. The question is, why didn't Mr. Ononuga remove his
own?
Because I know that Mr. Ononuga has been a personal friend of the president for
years,
way longer than
Ngilali. In fact, you don't know who recommended him for that position.
Exactly. So it means that Mr. Ononuga understands his way around the president more than Ngilali.
But he wasn't authorized. Obviously.
How sure are you? But he had the facts. But he had the facts. And the facts didn't change. After more than 24 hours, I just hope that we know what we're doing in this country.
None of them has resigned.
But
none of them has apologized.
No, they've continued.
It has passed. But this is
life goes on.
But this is a political family that didn't give Jonathan breathing space for even the list of things. Now,
I said that everything they criticized President Jonathan for, they did worse.
Is it because of some kind?
They did worse. If it's insecurity,
down worse. In less than a year.
If it is economy, we even revamped. I mean, was it devalued our economy and became
the currency,
number one.
Debased.
Debased is the right word I was looking for.
Yes, we debased.
We debased the economy and became the number one.
Rebased, whatever.
So you are confused.
Rebased, yes.
No, there's something when they say you
that devalued the naira and rebased the economy.
Okay.
Yes.
We rebased our economy.
Yes, we did.
I went above South Africa and became number one economy in Africa under President Jonathan.
Yes.
Oga Buhari just came in. After all of the propaganda that they have used to accuse Jonathan is the worst since the bitter leaf. They came in and did worse. Economy just went down. All the what's it called? Visa on arrival, bring your money, rather than foreign direct investments. the foreign investment here just started packing their bags.
The fact.
And left.
It started doing mothballing. A word I never knew until.
We didn't know of. We didn't know another word until he became president. Bandits. We stopped calling terrorists bandits because now it wasn't terrorism again. It's hijacking you on the highway. Everything they criticized President Jonathan for, they did worse.
Well, hopefully one day the feast of the locusts will be over in our country.
Amen.
But until then,
for those of us that believe in praying,
yes,
rather than working.
I please.
What about those of us who believe in praying and working?
And working together.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, many Nigerians can't understand how a Tinubu presidency is unraveling the way it's unraveling. Maybe there's a magic one the president has.
The Buhari president didn't shock you people. Although, to be very honest, though, what we saw, we were not sure if President Tinubu was really elected.
Oh well, so we really don't know where this drift is heading, but we hope that sooner than later it is arrested and reversed, and that for good. But when we return, I, Juror Cyril Abaku, will be taking a look at the confusion caused by conflicting messages shared by the president's spokesperson. That's in a bit. Stay with us. Middleman. Welcome back to the Middleman. My case, a tale of two presidential spokesmen. Two statements were issued regarding the president's May 29 itinerary by two of the president's spokesmen. On the same issue, two men said two different things. In fact, one said the other lied. The other didn't withdraw his statement. At the end of May 29, the one declared to have lied was justified to a reasonable degree. Now, I don't know what to call this. I'm not sure all that comes out as confusion is really that. Why do I say so? I say so because power games are deep games. Some people break their heads over these issues. I'm afraid Nigeria can't surprise me. My verdict. The president's men are way too many. He needs to reduce the number. A good place to start will be to have one spokesman and let all other spokespersons report to him or her. We must organize our house to organize the country. I so rule.
You remember the also your report that recommended reducing the size of our civil service. President Buhari touted that he was going to look into that report, implement some of the recommendations therein. President Tinubu also touted that he would, look into the report and take some of the suggestions. It's very unfortunate that rather than do that, he has enlarged his cabinet. So cost of governance has become way higher than it was under President Buhari. Look at the consequence of that, is that you have too many spokespersons. When, my personal opinion, when you come in via propaganda, you will need, propaganda.
Double of it.
To keep,
yes.
Telling us. Yes. We used to call liar Muhammad. He even joked that his grandson asked him, why did they call you liar, grandpa? Now, under President Tinubu, you are not even sure who to call liar because there are several of them.
There's the multiplier effect. I just think that, again, the way to organize the Nigerian presidency must be, we must have a second conversation around it. Okay? Have you seen the list of the president's appointees? SSA this, SSA that, SSA this, SSA those, and there's even some, there are all kinds, there's SA teleprompter.
Youth mobilization.
Youth mobilization and all kinds of things.
He just enlarged the government.
Now, what any Nigerian president should do, like I've said, a country must have strategic objectives that it wants to achieve. Now, for example, America matters. There's a reason why America matters. I can sit here and tell you so much about the American White House, how it was, how they used to call it the executive mansion, how it was brought down, rebuilt, called the White House and everything, which president did what. Why is that? But you bet Nigeria don't have as much interest in their own country. It is because our country does not take the place to market itself to its own people.
What's the Nigerian dream?
I'll come to that. And so Nigeria has a dream which by nature was imposed upon it. But many years of misrule have made us to jettison and relinquish our position. So what must we do? It's like the anthem issue. Music generally feeds a promise or feeds love or feeds. You know when Shakespeare said, music is the food of love. Music must feed something. It cannot stand alone all by itself. So a country must have a dream, an aspiration that must give direction and purpose to what its leaders and
should be evocative.
Yeah. So until that is done,
the presidency direction.
Well. So for example, in the White House, in Aso Rock, there are all kinds of positions that I can't understand. If the president has a principal staff officer, then has a chief of staff, then has the SGF, then has so many of them.
Compensation.
You can't run the country like that. If so, we must rethink how to reorganize and revamp our identity, our structures, our philosophy, our values. Any leader who wants to begin from that point must be given room to work and to serve. Anything other than that, look at how two people saying the same thing. So,
do you have hope for the next 3 years
on the same thing? And it didn't come to anything.
Do you have hope for the next 3 years of this Tinubu's government based on all your suggestions?
No, the CBN governor has already said he has no solution to the inflation.
You can see that.
Tinubu himself has said, well, that they will continue just managing things. So none of them has any.
They don't have the answers.
They don't have any answer.
Let's go home.
That's why the national anthem is so important. Going back to the national anthem of over 60 years is so important to them.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is that, you see, there are low-hanging fruits they can get to. But these people are not even into. They were just there. They could just grab it, snatch it, and run with it. And that's all. Now you have the power. What are you going to do with it?
They don't know.
They don't know what to do with it.
So, I was saying earlier that music must feed something. Shakespeare said, if music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it. So it means that music must feed something. A country that has not addressed its national question can't be singing a new song because it won't make any meaning.
Our national question for me is even unity. Are we a war republic?
Exactly.
Or we are a country
exactly. So
of 400 republics?
I want to assume that no president comes into office willing to create uncertainty, fear, insecurity. Now, the fact that the president has not been able to have a hand of the challenges that we have in this country. Look at just killings. Look at Bono. Look at
Benue.
I hope that the president himself is not afraid of certain things and certain people. And to rather not deal. Look at.
You remember the cabal that
but he's even behaving like Obasanjo as a military head of state. He's afraid of the people.
Yes.
You can see it that Tinubu is afraid.
You can see.
He's afraid of engaging with the people. He has become clearly afraid. You can see it. He's not a president who is really confident on himself.
And who is his own man?
Yes. He's not his own man. He's so afraid. Yes. You can see it, in the events. Look at when he came to Lagos was it last weekend? And his supporters were chanting, "On your man, they be chanting." No, normally Tinubu will raise his hands and wave, but no. His security will just leave the way, give way, and they just sort of, they just moved him away from his people. Not just even with whatever. The Tinubu I've known is somebody who courts, adulation. He courts adulation. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At least he remains the president. At least he went to the National Assembly, was able to.
Because if he was able to express himself for what you are asking of him, then
but fear, retreating from the people is not, actually the way to go.
Is not, especially for a democratically elected president and a man who has been given office and power.
Who said grab it, snatch it,
but who also said don't have pity on me. I asked for the job.
But also at the same time, the same man is saying, "What do you expect? Do you expect me to be everywhere? Do you expect me to know everything?"
So, well, I hope that our country.
No answer for the national question yet.
Yes, but Jomake was asking, and like this will go the day. I can say for a fact that it won't always be like this. One day change is going to come, and Nigeria will definitely be out of the woods, and we'll chart a new path for the destiny of the black man everywhere in the world. When we return, Juro Olajumoke Alawode James will be asking if the reintroduction of Nigeria We Hail Thee is a sign of national failure. Stay with us.
Middleman.
Welcome again. You're still watching The Middleman on Enterprise TV. My case, old national anthem or national failure. While hashtag Tinubu's 1 year of failure is trending on X, our national representatives are only interested in returning us to chanting the colonial national anthem, written and composed by foreigners who only saw us as native and tribal. In fact, President Tinubu was very fast in signing the bill into law, something to celebrate for his 1 year in office. I've never seen a bunch of leaders so detached from the realities and plight of their country. In the time when Nigerians are hardest hit with low purchasing power, when statistics say 5,000 people have been killed and 7,000 kidnapped in the last 1 year, it is national anthem that doesn't invoke any pride in the citizens that the president is hurrying to sign into law. Not to give the same attention to high food inflation, dwindling economy, dying citizens, and insecurity. Tinubu's scorecard in the last 1 year by majority of political analysts has been abysmal, and it is sad that the ones elected or selected to represent the people's interests are rubber stamps. I keep asking if democracy is working for Africa. But look at our monarchy. The Kano Emirates has been turned to a ping pong, desecrated. Don't we want to like this? I personally have zoomed out of Nigeria in the last year. Once the elections portal was shut down on the day of presidential and national assembly elections, and the elections petitions tribunal told us there was nothing wrong with the elections, I shut down. Not only for my sanity, but to retain my sense of decency. Nigeria is like a crime scene where it's wrong to do the right thing. If you're not careful, you will adopt corruption as right here. Because everyone else is doing it, it's widely accepted and has even become the culture. Nigerian Labour Congress is fighting for a living wage. The National Assembly members who ought to champion that cause, but who are already living above their own wages, think it's Nigeria We Hail Thee, written and composed in 1959, that will unite us in 2024. The anthem says, to hand on to our children banners without stains. Just a few years after we stained the national flag with the blood of citizens at the Lekki toll gate. Nothing can spell misplaced priorities more than this. In 1960, Egbe Omo Oduduwa, using their national newspaper, the Daily Service, ran a national campaign against the adoption of Nigeria We Hail Thee, criticizing it for several reasons. In 2024, it's an Omo Oduduwa, originally from Osun State, but who adopted Lagos State as his home, that signed it into law. They no longer like Arise O Compatriots, composed by Benedict Odiase from Edo State. My verdict, Nigeria Matatayani. We have a democracy that renders the people powerless. To recall a thieving representative will take so much time and effort. We all just look the other way, criticize on social media, and run back to our office. Until Nigerians unite to take back their country, now so we will just be.
Sadly so. Sadly so. And I wonder if any thought was given to the wordings of that anthem, because there are certain things that are just not true in fact. And I think if people actually go to court, they will be embarrassed enough to withdraw it.
I agree.
When you say Nigeria, our native land, as of 1959, there were protests from the minorities in the Niger Delta about certain things. They felt there were demands.
Yeah.
And that was why Britain had to set up the Willings Commission.
Yeah. Where people wrote petitions.
Yeah, where people wrote petitions, yes. And again, if you look at it, when you say Nigeria, our native land, you look at people like, people, there are certain people who were not originally from Nigeria due to certain developments concerning Nigeria and Cameroon. What happened, earlier, and then again the ceding of Bakassi to Cameroon. So you cannot say it's our native land. What about
naturalized Nigerians?
What about naturalized Nigerians? What about immigrants?
Yeah.
So they are not native to Nigeria. So it is false.
Then the issue about tribal, when we're trying to
we're not tribal. You cannot describe an organic entity with synonyms, because to say a tribe is a synonym for a nation cannot hold anywhere. Otherwise, then why countries in Europe, why are they not called tribal entities? Why are they called nations?
I find it appalling, right, that in the midst of hunger and insecurity, our National Assembly members sat down and kept on debating and told us, the people who moved the motion, that it is timely, it is apt for us to go back to a national anthem that was written for us, unlike the one we currently chant. Now we don't even have any pride in. All of us are japping on the regular, right? That at least was written by a Nigerian. Appalling.
It's a dilemma, really, and I can understand your pain. The argument I've made ever since Julius Inyobere from Edo State, former advisor to President Obasanjo, who incidentally became the one to move the bill. I think that the President Tinubu, in the manner of speaking, would be glad to change it, because he and Obasanjo are, they've been each other's nemesis. So anything to take away Obasanjo's memory from Nigeria, I think he will be more than glad to do it. But that's only by the way.
Is he aware?
I feel that in terms of lyrical merit, right, a national anthem is a piece of poetry. In poetry, you don't always use direct language. I think that the old anthem, which has become the new anthem now, is a bit more evocative, is more direct. It appeals to the responsibility, for example, to say, we shall count this as gain, to hand over to our children a banner without stain.
But we already handed a banner with stain.
Did
Britain hand over a banner without stains? Because don't forget, the first anthem of Nigeria was God Save the Queen.
Yeah, sure.
That's not the old national, it was the second national anthem.
Yeah. But of course, under colonial rule, this one only came into effect after we gained independence. But where I'm going is this. In terms of, like I said, the lyrical merit, okay? But an anthem alone cannot do the job.
I agree.
And then number two, this is a most inauspicious time.
I agree.
Because you see, when you sing a song that rings false, I'm tempted to use an example that is a bit tacky, but let me still use it. It's like when a heart is being broken. And when there's a song that reminds you of that engagement in the past, you don't ever think of that song in good. That's where we are.
In fact, the emotions evoked is negative.
So it
tells you.
And you know the other thing, the one we just discarded had the labor of our heroes past.
Shall never be in vain.
But shall never be in vain. But you know the interesting thing. Remember Michael Imodo, who declared a national strike in 1945.
Yes.
He's one of the heroes of Nigeria, because he led Nigerians at that time to withstand the colonial rule.
Yes.
And then remember, as at 1951, you see, the problem with us is that we don't even know our history.
Yes.
So we base our heritage. Now, look at this. By 1951, we had self-governing territories. Nigerians could vote. But how did we come to become Nigeria? It was because a motion was moved, until now we moved the motion for independence. Otherwise, it was clear that, we could have still continued for some time.
Right?
Yes.
It was King Tola that raised the last motion that eventually gave us independence.
Well, those were Nigerians. But what I'm saying is that the British who endorsed that anthem didn't want any mention of Nigerian heroes. So through that anthem, they had already obliterated any mention of Nigerian heroes like Michael Imodu, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Herbert Macaulay. some of these great Nigerians, Sapara Williams, I think, who was the first Queen's Counsel, these heroes, Jaja of Okpobo, Oba Vorame, these are heroes of the past, like that. You could name so many of them. You could name Amos, what's that name? The first highlight musician from Nigeria.
Ambrose Campbell.
Ambrose Campbell. Whose composition the Beatles got, from whose composition the Beatles borrowed without attributing anything to him, and then made a hit song. So those are heroes.
Past heroes.
Those are heroes. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. But the thing is that as of 1959, the Britons didn't want any mention of our heroes past.
But again, Mika, like I said, can a song alone do the job?
Well, a song can.
I'm saying that the national anthem,
a song can.
They are like compatriots. Does not even evoke pride in Nigeria as it is. You are not going back to primordial times.
But that aspect, removing that aspect, the labor of our heroes, that's what hurts me the most.
So I can understand. The real issue is about leadership, is about misrule, okay? It's about the fact that over the years, we become people who have actually, when we sing the anthem, does it even mean anything to us?
No,
when you go and play football, you see the Americans and I read the anthem and they are crying. We just read it, sing it, and because
they say don't move. That is during the national anthem. We are
but you are moving. Even a soldier, you see. But the point is this: a country that is
doesn't have there
was a video now. He was moving away when they were singing the anthem. It was showing me that where I'm going is this: any country that is so easily removed from its national symbols, its anthem, its current affairs, is clearly a country on the path to an abyss, and that is where we are today. Whether old anthem or new anthem, they both ring force.
Self-annihilation.
Yes, of course it is. But they both ring force.
But can I tell you, actually, by signing that bill, Tinubu may have actually set in motion the disintegration of Nigeria without going. 1950. Look at Nigeria, 1959. If the minorities of the Niger Delta had wanted to break away, if they had mounted, if you remember, Isaac Adakaboro mounted that challenge some years later. If the minorities had come out to say, look, we don't want to be a part of this proposed Nigeria. If Chief Antonio Nahoro had come out to say, we don't want to be a part of this Nigeria. If Northern Nigeria, remember that Northern Nigeria actually wanted to be on its own.
Even Awolowo.
Yes. So if it was the mood of 1959
is evoked,
we are heading towards the disintegration of Nigeria. Quote me, I'm a historian. We can go back, bring all the newspapers of 1959, bring the historical records of 1959, bring all of that, and then let us see where Nigeria was in 1959. We should never
want to go back there.
Want to go back there.
Well. So what I think we should do is that the government should take hold of the conversation. Okay, they should take the initiative themselves and begin to. But can this government do it?
That's all on the meeting for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I must thank the jurors for being here. Evans Feli, Cyril Abaku,
my
and
pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Thank you for watching. And I must thank you, the viewer, for always staying with us. Please do join us in the comment section. Our YouTube channel is Enterprise TV7. All our social media handles are Enterprise TV7 also. We see you next time. My name remains Olajumoke Alaoli James. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Bye yo.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.